we met Jered yesterday, right? Do we remember? Do we remember that we met Jered yesterday? Okay, wonderful. Just getting a pulse. We met Jered yesterday. Remember him? We were sitting next to you for dinner. Have we met Craig? We have?
Not on stage.
All right, cool. Not on stage. Okay, Craig
not on stage.
is partner at Inverted Ventures, the family office, and they do very wonderful things. Craig actually is a renowned, recognized, famous chef prior to going into this family office. And so it all blends into each other. Is it blend? Have you used the word
blend? There you go.
Blends.
Yeah. Emulsifies. That's a better word.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great because Friday night, we hired a venue called Forte, and Craig is going to be the creative influence on that dinner that we're going to have. That might be truth or fiction. I'm not sure.
If it's bad, fiction.
But what I'd like for you to do today, because I know your experience about the whole crypto environment, the blockchain, the web, I know Jered's environment, and I want us to just talk about candidly, rug pulls, Ponzi schemes, communities, our communities developed on vapor. Who's suffering? Because the money comes from somewhere, and it's going somewhere. And oftentimes, it's not me, right? Who is it? Where is it? So here, I'll let you chat for a bit.
Well, I think we good?
No, yeah.
So first, I think we should talk about Karim's idea earlier in the spirit of the panel, the airdrop, if you want to.
Yeah, so we were talking about, everyone here is, into crypto and everything. So we're gonna airdrop everybody 1 trillion Luna Classic tokens. Everyone is gonna make 2 cents today. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
we're pretty proud of that.
We're
joke.
pretty proud of that.
That's fiction. We're not actually gonna bother. But we were talking earlier before we came in here about the main difference between a lot of crypto investments. There's crypto investments that have huge execution risk. Like when Bitcoin started, nobody understood it. The concept was brand new. It was nuts. So you had to get people to buy into the concept and believe in it. Then you had to get the marketing and the adoption. Ethereum, Ripple, similar. Then you have the other side where it's all about marketing and getting people on board with it. So that would be your Dogecoins. You're like, this is a cute dog. I'm in. And a lot of that, there's a lot of herd mentality with that. And the big difference that we decided was the harder things to achieve the adoption, like the Bitcoins and the Ripples and the Ethereums, they have more upside in theory. It takes longer, but once they get there, they have a reason to stay. They have longevity. If you build a Ripple and you achieve that point, which in my mind, Ripple, Ethereum, and Bitcoin have all passed that point where people don't know what it is and it's scary. People are building on them. Once you build that, it can continue to grow indefinitely. As far as, it could even get to be a global reserve currency. If it turns out I'm wrong and that's Doge, I'm going to be, or SHIB, I'll even be more pissed. But so the idea is that it's a smoother, more rough start. The path isn't as much of a rocket ship as a Doge or a SHIB, but it shouldn't have that drop either. So there's a huge difference between things that are built with actual, tech behind it. And there's a lot of things that I've seen in the past that are brilliant, and you would think they would succeed if people just get it. And never underestimate the stupidity of people, the lack of desire to actually look into something. And that goes as far as people jumping on board with scams because they didn't dig in. And it goes as far as brilliant projects getting passed over because they look at the white paper and they're like, I'm out, So
I can kind of take it from there because that's something that, we do at Inverted Ventures. We do, some private equity deals. You're going through term sheets, you're going through information on the companies, you're figuring out, what's their cash flow, who's the management. I kind of take that same idea and put it into the crypto space. So there are, relatively small altcoins that we look at. We we look at something with a, $25 million market cap, which might be a rug pull, it might not. You don't have to put too much capital in, but you look at it and go, is there utility? How active are they on social media, whether it be Telegram, Twitter, those types of things? A lot of the more active projects might not necessarily be a rug pull, because there is an active community, there's active users. The founders are actually communicating. A lot of the times they are a rug pull, but it's a matter of just figuring that out. So we look at it in terms of valuations, things like that. When it comes to something like, Doge and Shiba, we didn't invest. We kick ourselves every day, but I think it doesn't fit with our thesis, our theory, how we look at research, how we try and develop our portfolio. Those weren't there. We looked at it and said, these are garbage. And then they went up 36,000%.
And I'm saying it's harder to execute on something that's real because I lost a bunch of money betting on real things and not betting on sheeps. And you can make a lot of money short term on all kinds. For me, I just don't enjoy it. I want to see something that I want to, see succeed for the actual use of it. So I haven't really participated in it. But I got a friend that threw $350 and she made 27 million, whatever the hell he made, like 2 weeks or something. It's just stupid. I mean, and you can absolutely do it. The secret's to know when to jump off the rocket ship.
Yeah. I think that one of the big things when looking at a lot of these coins, I mean, like Kareem said at the start, rug pulls, Ponzi's, Terra was something we were involved in. We had a very high stake in Luna in terms of percentage of our portfolio. 2 weeks prior, we put our money into USDT or UST, sorry, and it wasn't a small sum. And it was after months of deliberating and going, 20%, but it reads like a Ponzi, whatever, but no, it's been here this long, it's looking good.
Yeah.
Put it in, and thankfully, when we saw it just got a bit too shaky for our liking, we pulled out. We got out at a 98 cent to the peg. And literally an hour and a half later, it was down to 68 cents. So thank God we did that. That was all Nick, by the way. He called me and he's like, dude, what the hell? And I'm like, this is screwed up. We should get it out. And he's like, okay, give me an hour to think about it. 20 minutes later, he's like, fuck it, I'm out. Right? So sorry, language. But it was one of those things where I was like, all right, like, yeah, we're getting out. So when you look at it, it was one of those things, we got caught up in the hype too, right? Yeah. We were looking at, okay, we're in this horrible downturn, right? This market's tanked. A lot of our altcoins are down 50%, whatever it is. We were in cash. So the majority of our holdings are in cash. But the percentage that was left, we're like, what are we doing with it? And how is our cash going to grow? We're not going to put it in the traditional system and get not even 1%. We could put it in Celsius. So we had some in Celsius that was sitting there at 7%. But then it's, why don't we take a little bit and put it in this thing that's been getting 20% for a year that we haven't used. And we believed it wasn't so great then and it was too good to be true, but it's lasted a year and it seemed stable. Let's put it in there. And our whole basis was, let's keep it in there for 6 months and just get the yield. It was like, we were getting $320 a day. We do that for 6 months. Awesome. It lasted 8 days, right? Before it all kind of crumbled.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And one thing that I hate doing due diligence, and that's cost me. If I calculated the hourly rate that I would have spent doing due diligence versus the amount of money I lost, I'd be paying myself like 20 grand an hour or something, just horrendous, right?
Yeah.
So in retrospect, I should have. But that's what I like about the Link 2 platform, and so you could do that, and then you obviously know that the due diligence has been done. Obviously, the companies that are listed on there have been invested in by major VCs and whatnot, and they've done their due diligence. So, that's another way that you can follow this stuff. It's like you see that, I don't know, I think Peter Thiel, like a long time ago, sunk a bunch of money into Ripple. I mean, I think, if I'm wrong on that. You're like, okay, Peter Thiel spending that kind of money, he's looked at it, he believes in it, and then he's probably got a team of dudes or women, whatever, that have dudes, I mean both, that have looked at it and said, okay, this is at least probably not bullshit. I think it's the first time I said bullshit, and this thing's about scams and Ponzi.
Yeah.
Kind of good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I already dropped an F-bomb, so it's all uphill from here, buddy.
Yeah, I talk about the Genesis of Ripple. I probably said fuck like 37 times. Talk about scams, and I'm well behaved.
But I think like if we're talking about, I guess a lot of this is in a way narrative based. There's a lot of narrative in this space, and it's kind of what you believe, or in a way what tribe it is. It's kind of the whole microcosm of the world we're living in now. Crypto's kind of that. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, let's get rid of the traditional financial system. This is going to change the world. I fundamentally believe that. I live and breathe that. But I don't believe Shiba Inu is going to change the world. No. Am I going to be wrong? Maybe. I doubt it. But you could be wrong on anything. Is XRP going to change the world? Most likely. But what happens if it doesn't? Will Bitcoin be the standard? Is there going to be a Bitcoin standard in terms of monetary policy? Like, there's all these what ifs. It's just trying to wade through all the noise, and I think that's what this entire conversation is about. Is there's a lot of noise. How do you wade through it? So how would you? I know, like, you're a genius. So how do you wade through all that noise that's been in the market for so long to get to this point?
First off, I take risks. I was early, a little bit of lucky. I'm not dumb, but genius. I appreciate it. I think it's a little bit of a.
I think you're pretty smart.
We'll go with pretty smart. How do I wade through it? I think that I've been out so long, and I haven't. When I was super focused on it, I met with all the founders. I made a lot of investments, and like I said, I invested in a lot of utility. I invested in a company called Purse.io back in 2013 or something. I have to check if they're around. They allowed you to buy anything on Amazon with Bitcoin. And I'm like, how the hell is this not gonna, and you'd get like a 20% discount. And then on the other side, somebody that had Amazon credit was using that to buy Bitcoin. So I was like, this is like an amazing arbitrage. And it didn't really get as big as you would think. You know, so I used to base it on the idea, and the team was pretty good, you know? So I used to just spend, it was different back then because I'd spend like a lot of time with the team, and it wasn't hard to get the access to them.
Okay.
But now I think I would just outsource a lot of that. I would probably follow the herd on the early investments. You can see a lot of seed stage stuff, you know, that is, especially if it's tokens or currency, it's easy to get to still. And then on the later stuff, I would, you know, I like the concept of Link2 for buying into like a Ripple or, you know, some of the others that are available there. I don't want to do that. I understand the value in it, and if there wasn't a better option, I would do it myself. But I don't do all that due diligence.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things that Nick and I have really grown to love about the Link2 platform is that I head up the VC side of our operation in Calgary, and the amount of due diligence I'm doing, the amount of time I spend going through all the data and backgrounds and this, that, and the other thing, to have a company like Link2 do it for you. We're all busy people. We all have time is a very valuable thing to all of us in this room. To save that amount of time, you're saving probably 70% of the back work that you would, and it's not wasted time. That is what makes your trades. That's what makes your investments, but it's done for you. You know that if you're investing in a company that Link2 has, because it's unicorns, you're getting backed by, like you said, Peter Thiel, all these funds. All the work is done for you. It's great.
So what are some red flags that you've seen that you look out for? That's kind of a fun one.
Red flags. I look at a lot of, well, red flags for sure is, what have the founders done in the past?
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, oh yeah, he was arrested for, you know, embezzling $15 million 10 years ago. Red flag, right? Like, but there's all those different things of, you know, what has this team done? Were they all Red Lobster managers now that are doing this thing? Like, do they have background in the industry that they're trying to change? Our whole thing is about paradigm shifts and trying to find fundamental change. Well, that can't happen from outside sources in a way, is the way kind of we look at it, is what are we looking for in terms of red flags? Is just, are they experts in their way? And they don't have to necessarily be experts, I would say, but they would just have to be in the know, I guess.
Do you consider the ambitiousness of the project? You know,
Yeah. 100%. Like,
Does that dissuade you, or are you more encouraged?
I'm way more encouraged. I'm a pretty ambitious guy, I feel. So I feel that, you know, I want to see people that are willing to put their all into it and kind of, you know, I don't mind people going for broke. That's what I've done my whole life in a way is, you know, if you have passion about something, if you want to build something great, I think you have to put in your all. You can't kind of leave some stuff behind just in case. That's not the mantra that I live by, at least.
Right, and the founder commitment, you know, if you've seen, they've put in a substantial amount of their own capital, quit their job, et cetera.
Yeah.
You want to, anything else you want to touch on, or we were talking earlier, we might just open it up to questions and see kind of what people are curious about, or Karim, if you've got anything.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you're resonating with what Greg said a little bit on what's the slope you want to be on and participate and partake, and unless you want to sit on the sidelines and be Web 1.0, I think, right? Thank you for the opportunity. I think that was good. Are there any particular questions that we want the panel to address now? Yes, we have 2 questions, and then we're going to call it because we're running a little bit late, and then we'll have Robin and Marco and Lisa on next.
We're the before lunch panel.
Before lunch panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Karim.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Thanks for giving me the.
Y'all's history is so interesting. I guess a quick question, and we can discuss it later as well, but thinking about alternative altcoins, some of the shit coins, so to speak, I've started seeing some really interesting plays of new utilities being added because they've already, you know, have some type of network. And is there anything that you're seeing that you think there's opportunities around the space that hasn't been done before, or any projects that you think? There was one project with the, is it HOKK, the Huck coin, where recently they're doing some things in the supply chain industry and thought that they were layering some new utilities that were interesting, even though the reputation of the coin.
He can go specifics, but in general, I think the concept, one of the hardest things about any company is the marketing aspect and the adoption. So if you have a Doge or a Sheep or a Litecoin or anything like that, and you have millions of people that know it, millions of people that use it, hold it, et cetera, if you could modify it to do something else, you already have that captive audience and you already have people invested in it. So as a general concept, you know, I don't see an issue with pivoting from, yeah, we were bullshit, but now we're like useful, so now you can use this for this. As long as you don't either, you know, you have to be careful how you do it. That's pretty nuanced. But as a general concept, marketing, especially now, you know, back in the day, you just had a good idea and people were like, that's a good idea, I'm going to tell people about it. But now there's a billion things, and then a lot of these things have huge marketing budgets. So if you've already got to that stage where like a Doge or Sheep, like we all know what it is, it seems natural once you have that audience.
Yeah, I think to really mirror that, that's the thing. It's all about marketing. It's all about what's the hottest thing. When you look at what happened last year, it was like, you know, there was another resurgence in DeFi. And then it was like all these layer ones. And it was like everything kind of just liquidity leaves the certain areas and goes to the place that everyone's talking about. Even though there's full belief in DeFi, it was this big rush to layer ones. I think one of the areas that's going to have a resurgence in the probably next year would be all of these insurance companies that are coming up on the blockchain. It hasn't there, you know, there was, what was it? Something mutual. Nexus, thank you. Yeah, Nexus Mutual was doing some great things, was running up, and then the insurance thing kind of went away. But I know that every chain is building insurance protocols on their chain to help liquidity and, you know, stop all these rug pulls and things like that. So I think that is probably the area we're looking at the most. We were looking at the, you know, the Terra network prior to all this craziness going down. We spent a lot of time doing research on Terra projects like Mirror and Anchor and figuring out if those were great for the ecosystem. And we did, you know, put a little bit into them, but I think that insurance is the one area that we're going to look very heavily in the next little bit.
So real quick, you know, we talked about when you look at companies, one thing I always ask myself every time I look at any type of crypto is, why is this on crypto? Because a lot of times I look at it and I say, like, this would be better on, you know, a SQL database. Like, this is just ridiculous. Like, you're trying to decentralize something that could benefit from the efficiency of being centralized. So I look at a lot of these projects and I'm like, like, why the fuck do we want crypto-based dog collars, or, you know, just stupid stuff that you're like, this makes no sense. So that's something I always look at. I'm sure you've seen a ton of things where you're just like, why the hell is this crypto?
Yeah, I mean, I get it with the whole NFT craze that's going on, but there's a lot of chefs right now, like Tom Colicchio. I don't know if you guys know him. He's one of the hosts of Top Chef, one of New York's great chefs. Him and this guy, Spike Mendelsohn, have a thing called Chef D Pizzas. And they're selling pizzas, but you can't eat the pizza. Like, to me, like, I'm a fat guy. I want to eat the damn pizza.
Yeah.
I don't want a picture of a pizza, right? So it just, to me, that kind of like, that just throws me off. I get it, the whole NFT thing, but it's like they're selling like a gourmet pizza that sounds amazing, and it's like, I can't eat. I can look at it, I can't smell it, and like, no, I don't want that.
No, and if you want to hear me say fuck a lot, put me on the NFT panel. Like, that's, watch out.
I'm on that one too, folks. So hey,
Yeah. Jered?
You guys have great chemistry up there, it goes without saying. And Jered, I hope the past couple of days of you being here, you've realized how much you've been missed by this community. And we hope we see you on many more stages. So my question is for both new and veteran crypto investors, which is when it comes to managing your portfolio, not the sexiest thing, how do you go about it? For example, I calculate how much I've invested in total amount of fiat, and then based on my confidence of the project, I'll assign that percentage moving forward. I'd love to find out how you guys manage your crypto portfolio.
So I let Russians take the whole thing, and then I just walk away for 6 years. But what would I do differently? I think the big question is how much money you have, how much money you want to play with. I think that if you're in crypto and you're not doing high risk, especially if you have a small amount of money, like what other industry, and it'll change over time. It's going to get safer and it's going to get less, you know, huge returns. But even at the moment, there's no other industry where you can put in a little bit of money, pull a ton of money out in theory, and it's still liquid. It's insane. It's like, you know, startups, you know, earlier we talked about, you know, like if a private company gives you the better returns because it's not as liquid, it's a pain to get in and out, and obviously Link2, you know, solves that, which is awesome. But like crypto, you can like click a button and you put your 50 bucks in, and 6 months later you got 600K out, and you're like, what the fuck, is it real? And like until it, you know, turns into something that's not, doesn't have a picture of a dog on it, you're like, you know, this isn't real. So I think that if you're in crypto and you're not doing high risk, I think you're missing out on the whole boat. Now, if you have enough money that you can do a chunk of high risk and a chunk of something, you know, like XRP and sit on it, or Bitcoin and sit on it, or Ethereum and sit on it, I think that's fine too. Because, you know, overall, good chance they go up considerably, you know. But you got to do the high risk stuff, or like, why are you even bothering with MetaMask and all this shit? It's a pain.
Yeah.
UI sucks, whatever.
And I think that was our thing when I first joined up in the company. Like the portfolio was very different. But then Nick and I kind of went down the rabbit hole of the altcoins. And right at the peak, we had about 35% alts, 50% Ethereum, and then 15% Bitcoin, but a mix between Bitcoin and stablecoin. Right. So, you know, on average, what we try and do is have about 25% Bitcoin, which we want to get less exposure to now, around still 30% Ethereum, and around 25% alts, and then the rest in cash. Right now, especially, we're 70% cash. We're just sitting in it just because things suck. We're just trying to figure out what's going on.
Right. And I was speaking specifically to the crypto side. If you're talking about the bigger portfolio perspective, I would probably allocate it into stable, growing private companies, you know, and then probably some really boring shit like real estate. You know,
but that's to clarify, that is
I got killed in there too. But
that is our crypto holdings, because I consider stablecoin cash. I know that's not the way you think about it. I consider it cash because we can,
Which stablecoin? It's algorithmically backed.
If it's algorithmically
So
backed.
quick red flag. When I read about Terra and Luna, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. They're like, well, this goes down, you buy this one, but then this one goes down, you buy this one. So either way, you make money. And it's like, holy shit! How did billions of dollars read? Well, this goes. no matter what, you make money. That's the number one red flag ever that you can't lose. One other quick red flag. Buddy of mine gave a bunch of money to a guy, and he was like, he tells me it's going up. And I said, dude, get financial statements, whatever. And he went to the guy, and he asked him for financial statements, and my friend came back, and I'm like, well, did you get your financial statements? And he said, I was going to, but then the guy said, do you want financial statements or more money? And
Oh, wow.
I'm like, please, just tell him you want the money you have right now. And he's like, I took more money, of course. And, you know, it pulled a Tara.
Wow.
Of course. For him, the other guy did great.
Yeah.
You know. But, yeah, and that was like 2013.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. No, with the things that it was allegedly and are still around, so the other guy did great.
I bet.
Yeah.
Sounds like you did.
Gentlemen, thank you. Awesome.
All
Round
right.
of applause.